So as it turns out, we've just crash landed on the planet Jupiter at the same time as another human crew. Both of us are trying to get back to Earth, but only one will leave this planet. Fortunately, the native Ooh are willing to help us, but only if we endure a series of trials of toughness, wits, trickery, memory, and general tolerance for shenanigans. The game is Space Off. In Space Off, two teams compete to take control of 3 lander pieces. There's a tracker in the middle of the board, and each time a success is realized in that category, that team will move that piece, or, per the game rules, tug that piece towards their side. When 3 lander pieces are controlled by a single team, that team wins. There are 5 different categories, each of them specializing in a different type of activity. For example, at the start of the turn, a curse card is drawn. Curse cards are cards that require you to do certain bizarre antics throughout the turn. If you forget to do them, you fail. They don't have a success condition, but they can be failed. Now, these cards are placed face up on the board and advance to 2 different spaces through the course of their life, and when they're moved off of the board, that's a success for the team that drew it. That team can then move the purple marker 1 space towards their side on the lander track. After drawing a curse card and putting it into effect, the team will roll the do or die. If you roll red, you're going to perform a tough action. Tough cards are cards that involve physical activities. For example, setup. Give the rival player 5 seconds to hide an Jupiter card. No peeking. The goal is for the team that drew this card to find the hidden card within 30 seconds. If you roll a yellow icon, you're going to draw and resolve a wits card. Wits cards are memory activities or general knowledge-based activities. For example, setup. Place a pile of the available Jupiter cards face down within reach of all of your team members. The goal is to create a 3x3 grid with no repeat numbers or colors in any row or column. Basically a Sudoku blitz. If you roll blue, you draw a gotcha card. Gotcha cards are read silently. They don't have an immediate activity. However, the team that drew them is trying to get the opposing team to do something while they're face up in front of them. These are additive, and throughout the course of the game, more and more are added to your stand. Get a rival to quote a line from popular media, for example. If you can trick the opposing team to do that, the card is a success, and the team will move their blue lander piece towards them. Finally, at the end of the turn, a grand trial card will be drawn. This is an activity that involves both teams. It's a competition, head to head. For example, setup. 1 memorizer from each team grabs a pencil and paper. Memorizers each draw 3 face-down Earth cards. They flip them over at the same time and study them for 1 minute. Memorizers have 1 minute to write down all the words they remember from their Earth cards. Whoever remembered the most wins the trial. And again, as always, they'll move the lander piece in that category towards their side of the board. At the end of the turn, all face-up curse cards on the board are advanced forward by 1 space. If they move off the board, that is a success for the team that drew them. All right, so my thoughts. Well, we played this one with the family after a long day, and as I sat down to read the rules, I was like, oh, there's maybe a little bit too much depth for 8 o'clock at night with this crowd, and we're kind of tired. Everyone's a little sleepy. I'm not sure if they can get into the silliness of it, but it took off pretty quickly, and it was actually a lot of fun to play with the family. My brother drew the first card of the game. It was the teleprompter curse card, which required him to read a news report using one of the keywords at the end of every round. And I was like, oh, okay, so now we're doing improv. And he loved it. He jumped right in, had no problem doing it, and it really set the tone for the game. Now, that said, if you're playing with a bunch of people that don't know each other as well, or maybe a little apprehensive to kind of like lay back with one another, I think it might be a little uncomfortable for some crowds, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to put this in front of people that I just met at a convention, for example. But it's not that kind of game. This is a family game. It is a game designed to be like Mario Party or like Cranium, and I think it delivers on those two ideas. Some of the activities are really bizarre. Some of them task memory quite a bit, but it's not a very competitive experience. It's meant to be enjoyed together, and I think it left us with a lot of really fun memories and stories to tell about that experience. My favorite being the Grand Trial card, where every player in the game was tasked with making a bizarre noise for as long as they could, and the last one standing would earn a point for their team. And so all of a sudden, we didn't even think twice about it. We all just burst out into for 35 seconds, and it was just whoever ran out of air first was the loser. But the game has a lot of cool activities involving these kind of foam blocks. My sister had a few of those, and she could throw them across the room and say fetch, and whoever was tagged as the retriever would have to go get them in a certain time frame. There was a lot of neat memory games and things thrown in, and it really kept you thinking, like, what's the next card going to have me doing? It was a lot of variety there, which I thought was pretty cool, despite not having a ton of different pieces to play with. So all that said, the game lasted about 35 minutes for us. It was really short, but I could see it going much longer if there's more back and forth on the tug-of-war tracks. We would have been happy to play it again had it not been 9 o'clock at night at the time. So this one would be a good fit for my family. You'll have to decide based on the recap in this video if you think it's right for your group. Again, I would be nervous about a new crowd, but who knows? Like, if you've got the right personality and if everyone's just relaxing with one another, it might be a great icebreaker. Notably, you cannot play it 2 or 3 players. You need a minimum of 4 because there's a lot of teamwork elements to it. The more the merrier. It does say it goes up to 10, but I suppose you could probably have more than 10 even. It would just be a matter of getting people around the table and being able to read the cards and see what the heck's going on. So that's kind of a nice player count for a party game. I know there's a lot of games that have party game feels to them, but then they top out at like 4 or 5 players, and it's like usually with those kinds of crowds we have a lot of people kind of tapping in and out of the game. This one's perfect for that. You can get up, go to the bathroom, you can make some food, you can walk away from the table, and you're not really missing anything or hindering the other players from continuing on the game. So this one was lots of fun. Definitely enjoyed the time. Lots of good stories to tell. Looking forward to playing more Space Off.